Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Uh, Today we'll start with Surah Al-Falaq. Yesterday we did Surah Nas and Surah Nas and Surah Falaq. These are the two surahs that are revealed for the protection of the Muslims. And the background of this surah was actually revealed with Surah Nas. Many narrations say that they were revealed at the same time. So this has the same background as Surah Nas that we discussed yesterday. So the Prophet ﷺ, to keep it short, the Prophet ﷺ he had magic done on him by the Jews, right? Where they collected like some hair of the Prophet ﷺ and they tied knots on them and they blew their magic, whatever they have, and they dropped it in a well or something, and that made the Prophet ﷺ very sick, and his hairs, he started to shed hair as well, other symptoms. And then Allah revealed this surah along with Surah Nas for the protection of Prophet ﷺ and to revert that magic, right? So that's the background of this surah. This surah is meant for the protection of Muslims. Now, Surah Nas that we discussed yesterday was for the internal protection of Muslims, right? The protection of their hearts and their soul, their faith. This surah is for the external protection of the Muslims, the protection from the surroundings of a Muslim, right? So let's start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of the daybreak. Now, the daybreak is the time when, there's night, right? There's no light around, everything's dark. And then the light starts to increase. When that first bit of light comes from the night, that is the daybreak, right? When the night breaks and now it's the daytime, the day is coming, right? So eventually, as the light goes up, there's more and more light. The darkness fades away, and everything that's in the darkness, that also gets cleared. It gets clarified, and a person starts to feel safer when there's daytime, when there's the light. And obviously Allah is the Lord of the daybreak. Allah is who brings light into the darkness. And basically this also carries a metaphorical meaning that darkness, obviously it's associated with sins, crime. It's associated with lack of health, lack of mental, emotional health as well, right? When a person's just not feeling good physically or mentally, and a lot of crimes happen in the night, and basically the daybreak would count as something helping you get through it, right? Allah is the one that helps a person improve their status, right? If a person is not safe and secure and a person is vulnerable, Allah is the one that gives him protection. And that is the meaning implied over here. I seek refuge with the Lord of the daybreak, because Allah is the only one that can bring light into the darkness, convert the night into the day. Okay, that's the theme over here. Min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of that which he created. Again, in the night there's evil, right? Crimes like robbery, murder, etc. All these crimes, they're much more likely to happen in the night when there is no light, and when it's easy to hide these crimes. That's when the crimes happen. That's where the evils are. Also, jinns, etc. They come out of their hiding spots in the night, and that's why the night is covered with evil. That's why it's also advised to get back home early before the night. And in the above ayah, we've talked about the daybreak, where the night is converted into the day. So this is a continuation of that, from the evils of that which he had created, especially in the night, right? Min sharri ghasiqin iza waqab. and from the evil of the darkness when it spreads. When the day becomes the night, right? That's also when the evil starts to spread. The evil of the darkness when it spreads. When the darkness starts to spread, the evil spreads with it. So there's a lot of hidden evil in the darkness. That's the whole theme in these three ayat, right? Uh, that the Muslim, the reader of this, is trying to seek refuge from all the evils that occur in the darkness, right? With the dark. So that's what is mentioned over here as well. The evil of the darkness, and when it spreads, the darkness itself isn't the evil. It's from the darkness. It's from the evil that happens in the darkness. Uh, and then min sharri naffasati fil uqad, min sharri naffasati fil uqad, and from the evil of the blowers into the knots, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he had knots tied on his hair, right, by the magician or whoever, and then they blow their kalimat into the knots. That is mentioned over here because a lot of these black magic, these rituals that go into black magic, they involve tying knots into like hair or ropes or whatever, and they blow their kalimat into those knots. Right? Whatever sayings they have, they blow them into the knots, and that is very prevalent in black magic when it happens. So that is what we're seeking refuge from the evil of the blowers into the knots. The blowers into the knots are basically the magicians. And if you notice, if you look at the ayah, nafathati fil uqad, that is a feminine. This is basically a feminine noun, right? This implies that the blower is feminine because in the past and maybe now as well, most of the magicians, the ones that do blow into these knots, they're females. A lot of these magicians, they're women, and that's why the female noun is used over here to imply that the magicians are females. And from the evil of an envious one when he envies. وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ. Now, hasad, it's commonly translated to as jealousy, right? Which is like, it's not complete. The word jealous does not completely convey the meaning of a hasid, right? The one that is jealous, that is not the complete meaning of it, because jealousy can be just surface level, right? You look at someone and their clothes are good, right? You like their clothes, and you're just saying, like, I wish I had those clothes, or why does he have those clothes? That in itself is jealousy, but that's not hasad. Hasad is when the person starts to have evil intentions, right? When, if that person, suppose, okay, like clothes is like a very basic example. Suppose a person has a high rank, right, in their workspace, and another person of a lower rank thinks that that person doesn't deserve that rank, right? Maybe he doesn't, maybe he does, right? But whatever, there's jealousy over there. If that person who wants that higher rank but doesn't have it, he goes to a magician, right? And he asks to get promoted to that higher rank and to remove that person from his rank. And that magician, blows the knots or whatever. That is hasad. When the person does something evil about it to get that position or that thing from him, when it goes beyond that jealousy, that is the evil of the envious one, right? Because just the jealousy itself won't do much. When the person starts to have evil intentions and do evil things with that jealousy, that is when it matters. That is when the refuge is needed. And that is also covered in this surah over here. This surah basically covers everything that's around us, right? Outside, the influence of outside people or outside things to a person, right? We've mentioned the evil of the day, evil of the darkness, and then evil of the magicians, evil of the people who are jealous, and they do something about it, something evil. So all these external entities, those are all mentioned over here, and this is why this is such an important surah. And this is especially useful these days in the world of social media, where a lot of us post things on social media. It's okay to post things, but there is a danger to it, and the danger is that who's watching it you don't know. Like anyone from all around the world could be watching it, and who is envious of you, who is jealous, and who is what extent that jealousy is, you don't know, and what that person can do about it, you don't know, right? And when you're outside in the nighttime, what's around you, you don't know, because the world of the jinns, we don't have access to it. And where are the good jinns, where are the bad jinns, again, we don't know. There's so many things that we don't know around us, and so many dangers that we're not aware of, and that's why something can just happen and we don't know why it's happening, right? Something bad happens to us, and that's why this surah is important, because when we are exposed to the outside world without any protection, and we don't even know what can happen to us and when it can happen. This surah, along with the other surah, Surah Nas, these have a very high importance in protecting us. And the Prophet ﷺ, he used to recite these surahs every night before sleeping, and he used to blow on himself with these two surahs, right? And the Prophet ﷺ even said that these two surahs, they are unlike anything else in the Quran, right? Because of how much protection they offer. If you read these surahs, recite them, with the intention, Allah is protecting you, and what better protection there is than the protection of Allah. So therefore, these surahs, they are very important, and we should all try to practice them and implement them in our lives. And this is also the beauty of the Quran. These two surahs being like one of the most important surahs in the Quran, as in they offer you so much protection. They could have been long, right? They could have been very comprehensive, very detailed, but Allah kept them very short. This is 5 ayat. Surah Nas is 6 ayat. They're very easily memorized, and a lot of people, a lot of children learn these surahs as their first surahs, right? Surah Fatiha is learned very commonly by small children. In this surah, Surah Nas, Surah Falaq, these are very, very easily learned by smaller children as well, so that this protection can come from a very early age, right? Allah has made the Quran easy for us to learn and understand, and that's why this very important surah and the one after it, Surah Nas, these important surahs, they're small and easy to learn, and yet the whole they carry the whole meaning, and they carry all that protection that's needed to us humans on a daily basis, right? So we'll end it here then.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم.
Jazakallah.